The importance of routine. It's a bit of a cliche, but I have some things I want to talk about. I have some things that I think would be of value to you to hear, and at the same time, I also think that I want to keep myself accountable, and the best way to do that is to share. So, yeah, let's talk about the importance of routine. So in this video, I want to chat to you about, I guess, probably three things. I don't know how this is all really going to go, but really the importance of routine, as mentioned. I kind of already got to that point, but the other two areas is like how I'm using it, and also, you know, a bit more around it, digging in a little further. And look, how this is all really playing out, you'll probably realize that I'm probably more actually talking about systems, processes, and things like that. But to me, it's all a bit of routine, and by nature, I'm a routine junkie. I like to be able to have things constant and consistent, and that's probably really the main reason why it's so important to me, is because I want to have that base, that foundation, or something like a backbone. And you know, really, if I think of that, that's probably one of the really reasons, or important reasons, to have routine in your life, is to have something that's consistent, to have something that's enables you to fall back to if things get a little out of hand. Also, it keeps me structured, it keeps me honest, it keeps me progressing, it keeps me moving, and having that in place, something which is nice and neat. And when I say nice and neat, you'll see what I mean in a minute. But having something there that you can always just rely on will enable you to, I guess, then evolve it into a system or into a process or something that will work better for you. Alright, so that's kind of like the importance of it. And I just want to clarify one thing very quickly, is this is just literally me kind of chit-chatting about how I use routine and why it's important, why I think it's important. So just to clarify. Okay, so when I think about routine, there's probably three areas of which I'm making a routine happen, and I guess it's probably three levels or three tiers. I haven't really named them, but there's probably like a high level in which, you know, is like the vision of a week, and that's like your Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's looking into the week, and each day has a significance to me, or I guess every day has a part to play, and I like to leverage those days to ensure that I'm maximizing them to get something done, whatever that looks like. So for me at the moment, Mondays is kind of, well, I'm only really 3 weeks into this year, but Mondays for me is, it's a start of a new week, but I want to start it strong. I want it to be productive. And at this point in time for 2021, Mondays is just like getting into the swing of things, getting into a cadence, kind of setting what I want to achieve for the week, understanding what my roadmap of, whether it's filming or YouTube videos that are coming, but also knowing and reflecting on what I've achieved the week prior to it, and also seeing what I can do for the week going ahead. Tuesday to me is sourcing day. Now that I'm in 2021 and I've kicked off, you know, this is it, taking a chance on me and focusing on my reselling business and also my furry business, is Tuesdays are my sourcing days. They're the days that I'm going to go out and try and source as much, I guess, you know, what I'm calling fodder, or stuff to resell, right? And that's heading out to the thrift shops, to the op shops, and getting that stuff. So that's Tuesday. But also Tuesday's family night. It's nacho night. It's when I spend some time with the folks, and we sit down and have nachos and watch a movie, or at the moment we're currently watching 24, and just enjoy it and kick back. And that's been something which I've done since a child, and to me that's always being able to, you know, look at Tuesday as an exciting day, or something which is going to be fun because I've got family night at night. I'm having nachos. It's cool. And also usually have a maxi bun. I love maxi buns. And so that's Tuesday. Wednesday is, well, to be honest, I want Wednesday to be I want it to be focused on furry, and that hasn't been happening yet. And that's the other thing that I'm sharing in this process. That's the other thing that I want to share in this video, is what's working and what's not, and we'll get to that. But Wednesday at the moment, I want to focus on furry. Thursday is listing day. Now, at the moment, I want to be listing every day, but Thursday to me is a listing day, a day where I want to be sorting, listing, drafting, taking photos and getting as much done and dusted as possible, just really dedicating the day to it. And Friday is kind of like a wrap up of all the things, so tying up loose ends, things that I didn't do, getting stuff done, and it's probably a bit more relaxed. I want it to be relaxed. Weekends, I want to try and step away from the work kind of things and just do whatever I want to do. Sometimes I find it that I'm actually more productive or getting things done on the weekend, and that's just because I get into a natural flow of doing things. I might be playing a video game and then, start thinking about, I want to do some content creation, and that's the flow I want to be in. I don't want to be putting pressure on me for the weekend, but giving myself a chance to be able to just be free, and if I want to go out and do something, I can. But that's kind of where I'm at the moment. But I guess that's just a snippet, and you'll understand why it's only a snippet at the moment when we get down a bit further. But the other routine kind of thing that I'm doing is habitual or habit type routines, and this is stuff around like goal setting or tracking or progression or completion of tasks. Now, I'm going to pop up on screen what you can kind of see is an example of just kind of what I'm doing to set goals and progression tasks on a daily basis. Now, for me, I love data points. I love seeing tangible results, and I love, seeing that achievement. And for me, I like to just create a lot of dot points, checklists or tick lists or whatever you want to call them, to make sure that I'm ticking things off. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm not going to get these things done every day. But what I like to do is at least put things down, because I know in the back of my head, I have all these things I want to achieve and I can tick them off. Now, if I'm not necessarily getting them done, let's say I wanted to list 20 things today, but I only got 7 done. Well, I'll put that I did 7 done, because I'm still progressing. And once again, once we get a bit further down into this video, I'll be explaining how January, or where I'm at this point in time of the year, how it plays such a major role in actually working out what this looks like. But so as you can see in this example, I've got a couple of things that I've ticked off, and some of them are done and some of them I didn't complete, but I was able to get something done, and that helps just keep me honest. And usually I just put some little notes or some talking points around what worked, what didn't, some data points maybe. But also I have a bunch of Excels that I'm using to track whether it's things that are close to me, whether it's around running, or whether it's around my reselling business, or whether it's for planning content, or whether it's for, how much sales I've had today, how many subs I've got for YouTube. So little things, and those have, they're routine things that I want to do as I get more information. So as data comes in, or as I get to the end of the day, I want to, put all that detail in together. Now, some of this I could automate, and I probably will in the longer run, but at the moment, at the start of a year, if I'm building a habit or a routine, or if I'm wanting to get into a mindset, forcing myself to do these things, or giving myself a chance to do these things, will help me start to see what's sticking and what's not. So once again, we'll get to that shortly. The third thing is probably daily ways of working, or how I'm doing things at different times throughout the day. So we've gone from that week on view, and then we've gone into the habits or things that I'm trying to achieve, and then I'm going to, when I'm actually doing these things on a daily basis. Now, for instance, I like to run, and when I run in the mornings. Mornings are my best time to get running done. Doesn't mean I won't run at different times, but for me, if I don't get my run done by a certain time in the morning, it frustrates me. It makes me anxious. It makes me, doesn't get me into that focus zone. So for me, running is a morning thing. Other things that I like to do is, maybe I have some focus time in the mornings, but I also find sometimes later in the evenings. At the moment of me doing this video, it's 10:15 at night, just because that's when I'm in the zone, and I want to leverage that. The other thing is, when I'm tired, I do certain things when I'm tired. I go out and check the chickens, have a chat to the chickens. I know it sounds weird, but yes, I chat to my chickens, but it kind of just, it's like, if you were in an office building and you're feeling tired, you'd get up and walk over to the kitchen and you'd do something, you'd have a chat to someone or whatever. So here we are thinking, okay, Chris is losing it, he's talking to chickens. But it's either I do that, or I might play a little game, just on the iPad or on the phone, or I might watch a video, or I do something to give me a little boost of boom, boom, boom. That's something to just get me up and come awake again. Sometimes it could be snacking as well, but I do try to avoid that as much as possible. So that's kind of those, I guess, those three areas. We just touched on kind of like the vision across the week, the habits, and then the daily ways of working. So I kind of touched on, how routine plays an importance to my life, right? And how, there's different things that I want to leverage, such as it's being a baseline, or it's something that I can, fall back onto, or it's giving me a guiding principle, or that level of consistency. But, going into 2021, and we're in January at the moment of this video, it's the 25th of January, and how I like to start a year is leverage January to kind of create a playing field of testing out things, experimenting with stuff, or throwing things at a wall and seeing what sticks. Now, this is also how I do my goal setting as well, but what it enables me to do is, I kind of set out things that I want to try and do on a certain day each week, because as I alluded to, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, etc., and see what's working and what's not. And then what that does for me is, I guess it helps me get into a groove. It helps me see or leverage what is working and what isn't working. So as I document data, as I do things on certain days, I'll realize, no, actually this day would have been better for something else. Or the days that I'm doing my mailing runs, when I have items that I need to send that people have purchased, does it make sense that it's Monday and Friday? Or does it make sense I just do it Tuesday and Friday? Or whatever, right? And finding what's working to build a system and a process. And as I'm doing different things as well, as I'm running, as I'm working through my business, as I'm working on my podcast, all those things, I'm finding which days are working better, but also getting down into the detail of, as I'm getting into the process of, I go out to an op shop, I source the stuff, I bring it home, I need to categorize it, I need to store it, I need to sort it, and how I'm doing those things and when I'm doing those things. And January just gives me that chance to kind of just, I guess, get into a vibe, into a routine. And then I can start to really think, okay, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. Based on this is the goal that I want to set to achieve for the rest of the year. So that's really how I leverage January, but also how I see that routine is so important, because January, I can kind of just pick and choose and see what's working, but it enables me to then fall naturally into those things. And that's the beauty of it. If I'm testing and trialing stuff, some things will just work naturally and I'll get into that nice cadence of a nice habit, whereas some things I'll struggle with and I'll try and adjust them, and if they don't stick, they're probably things that don't need to stick around, right? That's the whole point of testing them out, and seeing what's working and what's not. So that's really how I'm finding it. And if those things are sticking by 80%, they're the ones that usually stick around, and those are the things that I dive into. So I think that makes sense. Does it make sense? Let me know. So at the same time, while doing all this, working on the passion projects and keeping in mind about the routine and the stuff that I kind of want to achieve anyway for the year, I'm setting up processes. I'm setting up systems to enable me to, I guess, naturally somewhat get into these things. And, whether it's not necessarily automating them, but just automating my headspace and getting that muscle memory of whatever it is. So, it might be every morning when I wake up after I've gone to the toilet, whatever, you don't need to know that. But, I want to do 15-20 minutes of stretching, of yoga and whatnot, not because I'm going out for a run, but just because that's helping me get into, I guess, a good positioning for the day. I feel good, I feel strong, I feel relaxed, I feel refreshed, and it gets out all the nooks and crannies and things that aren't feeling good. Right, and it just sets me up, and that's become a nice 15-20 minute thing, which enables me to, if I am going to go out for a run, gets me into the good zone, but also if I'm going to go do something else, I just feel fresh and ready to go. But the things I'm really focusing on is batching, how I'm approaching things, and how I'm tracking stuff as well. Identifying what data I want to be tracking, whether it's, if I'm talking about my eBay business, what data do I want to be tracking? Is it the stuff that I'm completing per day? So then by the time I get to the end of January, I can see what's available, how I'm spending my time, and then also give a bit of a forecast into the rest of the year of what's going to be working and what's not. Of course, it's always going to be progressively, changing the process, adjusting the process, and pivoting and adapting and finding better ways of doing things. But if I don't have this mindset now, it makes it harder to do it later, because that's just the way I work, I guess. I hope that kind of all makes sense. In my head, it all makes sense, but I feel like this is something which could be of value for other people. And let me backtrack a bit. So routine, the importance of it and why it's important. I think it enables us to have a baseline. It enables us to have something to fall back onto, like a backbone, and it gives us that level of consistency, and it's a constant, right? And it enables you to have a cadence of doing something. And then breaking down into tiers, I like to look at it over a week view, what I want to achieve in a week, and how those days have a special role to play. Habits or habitual routines, goals and tracking, identifying progression, and also, capturing the completion of tasks. And then the third one being the daily ways of working. So when I'm working and how I'm putting those times to my best effort. So whether it's running and do it in the morning, when am I doing my focus times, and how am I adjusting and taking into account, the times where I am feeling tired, or maybe I'm not being productive, and what do I do to, what do I have as a routine in place to enable me to continue to push through. So those are those areas. And I think the other thing for you to take away from this is, are you creating a period of time which you can experiment, challenge yourself, test out different, routines or processes or habits to see what's going to work for you. And that's essentially the importance of routine to me, right? And hopefully there's something here that you've found of interest, of value. And if there is, please let me know in the comments below, because, I want to do this content because, well, I want to share it and also keep myself honest, but I also want to make sure that I'm giving you guys stuff which is going to help you. And, I mentioned at the start of this year that, I want to document and share the journey of what I'm doing to, achieve what I want to achieve. And this is the first segment of that. This is exactly what I'm doing at the start of every year, regardless if I'm working, regardless if I'm, even if I was on holidays or something like that. I always spend January to kind of just get into the right mindset, to build out, figure out what I want to focus on, and build out those routines. Like today, literally today, I've just kind of kicked off something that I want to build as a cadence, which is called Massive Monday, focusing on the wins, the small wins, the big wins, the massive wins, and also the lessons learned, and maybe something that's motivational or encouraging or inspiring to other people. And I want to do that on Mondays. I want to do that every week and just drop that content. Just because it's been stuff that I've been, over the last few weeks, I've been sharing content, but I've realized it hasn't been consistent, or I'm just putting it out here and there. But I love routine, right? And I realized, well, maybe Mondays is that chance to kind of reflect and give back, and talk about some of the things that I've achieved or some of the things that haven't worked. So these are all ways of working in my head, I guess. And, come the end of January, I'll be super keen, early February, to share what my goals are for the year and how I got there and what does that look like. And maybe by the time of you watching that, by rewatching this, maybe all of it will kind of make sense of how I got to that point, from, what I was thinking of sharing in this one, if that makes sense. All right, well, that is it, folks. That's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and yeah, please, feedback. I need feedback. Let me know in the comments below. Share with me, and if you've got different ways of working or how you use routines to maximize your life, let me know. Super curious, love understanding people's routines, processes, systems, and things in place, whether it's for a business, whether it's for your personal life, or just growth, whatever it is. So yeah, really do appreciate it. Yeah, if you're here, thank you. All right, well, that's it. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, do the whole shebang, and hustle. Yeah.